Come a little closer and lend me your ears. Don't worry, you keep yours while I keep mine.
In each episode, we'll dig into the major stories, uncover the truth, and retrieve gems from Yada's blog.
We'll discuss what's right, bark about what's wrong, wag our tails at the thrill of discovery, and take you on adventures through the exciting world we live in today. So, fasten your curiosity leash and get ready.
Right then, coming to you with another episode of the Yada's Vlog on a Blog. Tomorrow's news, disseminated today. Let's dive in.
Well, as much as I love the swimming pool Wookiee and peacock chair Wookiee and yachting Wookiee, blue-suited Wookiee, the rumor is that if she doesn't keep on tossing into the trash each iteration of her new introduction, we are going to have a more serious introduction to this program. And so Wookiee is going to get retired eventually, although I'm positive we will sneak him in every once in a while. There's going to have to be a day over the next year that, is somewhat humorous. And so we will sneak him in from time to time. Today is not one of those days, even though we don't have the new introduction quite ready. We need really no introduction of Dr. Jeff. He is our guest co-host today, and good to see you, my friend.
Likewise, great to see you. You're looking pretty spry and well.
Yeah, for 6,000 years old and a guy that just passed a kidney stone, not too bad. Still trying to get over that, though. It's the ongoing implications of it. Your body, it goes into such a battle to deal with that pain. By the time you're done, a couple of nights sleep just don't quite recharge the system the way that it once was. So I'm still a wee bit haggard by it, and also trying to incorporate the lessons that can be learned from it. There's a lot that I had to contemplate during that experience. So I'm glad to be over the worst of it. That is for darn sure. If you wouldn't mind, Kevin, let's play this first from Mr. Cruz.
Jesse, if we see a government in Iran that is not run by Islamists who hate America, who chant death to America, who fund terrorists who are murdering Americans, if we see a government that wants to be friends with America, it will make this country massively safer. That's why President Trump is doing this.
Yeah.
And I got to say, Jesse.
Yep.
The beatings will continue until morale improves. Isn't that the old line? We're going to continue to bomb you until you love us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness!
Gonna bomb the Islam right out of you. That's how it works.
Oh yeah, and the coast of Fox propaganda. That's it. Yeah. Trump, he's doing the right thing. Yeah, we're gonna bomb the living crap out of them, and then one day they're gonna really appreciate us for having bombed the crap out of them. You can tell how much they love us right now by the 20 million people that are lined up to mourn the murder of their former leader.
I got to tell you,
congratulations! You are so effing stupid. How could we have a nation of such nincompoops?
I can't believe he just said that. It's like his brain infarcted. If what he said was possible, then I have a pair of boobs on my forehead.
Well, yeah, they'd be triple D if they were the equivalent of that tumorous injection into reality. Yep. We're going to continue to murder their leaders, even little girls. We're going to bomb schools. We're going to be ruthless SOBs. We're going to renege on every agreement that we make. In fact, we're going to bomb them just for fun while we're negotiating with them to teach them how to negotiate. And then, eventually they're going to love us. Yeah. They'll stop screaming death to America. You know what the primary theme is of the funeral procession? Death to Trump.
Mm-hmm. $100 million.
Yeah, so
$100 million
let's go bomb
bounty,
again,
right?
and we'll have a different result. They call that insane. But yep, we agree with that. I'm Fox News. We agree with that. Yep.
Wow.
You tell them. Ugh.
Yeah.
I vomit you out of my mouth. So, why? So, Dr. Jeff, why is the Hebrew Babel so focused on law? This is a Bach boy. This is a rabbi. He's got all of his little rabbinical tomes behind him. No Torah, mind you, behind him, but he has all of his other rabbinical rubbish. So, does God have a Bible?
No Bibles.
Word that in Hebrew that would be closest to Bible, spelled with exactly the same way as Bible in Hebrew. What would that word be? Babel. You think this guy, because he claims to be a theologian and an expert, I mean, he's obviously knows what the Bible says. Do you think that he would not know that Babel is something that God despises, that it means to intermix in such a way that you confound and confuse? Would he be unschooled in such things?
Oh, he learned it in yeshiva.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm here to tell you, Bible is from Babel, and Babel means to confound and to confuse by commingling and intermixing truth and lies, religion and politics. So you're a nincompoop. Now, as for law, funny thing, he wants to render Torah law, doesn't he? What is the verbal basis of Torah, just out of curiosity?
Yara.
Yara. And what does Yara mean?
Teaching and instruction, guidance.
Instruction, guidance, teaching.
And direction. Those are the four source. It's the source from which teaching, guidance, direction, and instruction flow. There isn't a book of laws. It is a book of guidance and instruction. And there is no word for obey except in good God, these people are stupid.
Yeah.
They went from political stupid to religious stupid.
And when you look at the word,
all brought to you courtesy of social media stupid. Thank you very much.
And if you break down Bible, it's with Lord Bell.
Yes, it is. It is. Yeah, Ba is means with and in, and Bel is the Lord God of the Babylonian religion. Congratulations. You're a winner.
Their Talmud is packed full of law. It's over 613 of them, right? Just like the amount of bones in the human body, right, Dr. Jeff?
Yeah, that's what they claim. But of course, and the seeds in a pomegranate, except there's no correlation between either of those numbers. In fact, the number of bones in the body is 1/3 of that number. It's a little over 219, 200, depending on what bones you count and what size you count. But right around 210, 215. Is that correct, Dr. Jeff?
206 bones in an adult body. There are maybe 212 or 215 in a fetus. So again, he's using the Rambam's math and the 613, what they call mitzvot.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes. And by the way, the interesting thing about the old Rambam is that their calendar is 197 years off. And it's not just that it's 197 years off. He justified his calendar based upon the magic number 19 and the sanctification of the moon, because he was serving Muslims. And so he based it on Islamic principles, and he's 197 years old. On top of all of that, rather than base it on the genealogies in the Torah, he takes it back and he says that creation of the universe was less than 6,000 years ago. I mean, Rambam was such a nincompoop, wrong about every one of his 13 principles. And there's a whole goddamn religion based upon it, and they didn't get anything right. How many times does a man need to lie to you before you say, yeah, maybe this guy's probably not somebody I should believe.
Shame
I
on
think
me.
the very fact that he was a Muslim at one point in his life speaks volumes.
It does. Oh, he served as an Islamic vizier. That was his.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was to Saladin. I think it was to the most vicious of them. So, congratulations. There's your sign. You're stupid too. All right. So here we have another one. So many, but it's a very nice background. They've rather than like myself, where I have these 38 books sitting beside me that I have carefully translated the oldest extant manuscripts and written commentaries on them. And bearing my name, he's got the wisdom of dead rabbis behind him. And based upon the wisdom of dead rabbis, he wants you to know that Hashem has a perfect plan for you, just custom made, just for you. So, can you please tell me, where would you find a Hashem in the Torah? They claim to be Torah observant. Is there a Hashem in the Torah? No. There's a Yahweh in the Torah, but there's no Hashem. And then the second, is there any place in the Torah that Yahweh says, I have something that's perfect, and I want you to be perfect? No. In fact, the word tamim is from tamam. All it says is, let's get this done. Let's complete what we started together. Then last would be, in the Torah, is there any place where God says, separate rules for everybody? I got a plan for you, and I got a plan for the guy over there, and I got a plan for this guy down the street. I got a different plan. I have Torahs for everybody. There are multiple Torahs. Everybody's got a Torah. I have a plan just for your needs and wants. Does he ever say that?
No, my Torah is for you and the Goyim living in your midst. All the same.
Everybody. Yep. So you are lying, and you're lying for a living. Why would you do that? Why would you lie for a living? Excuse my faces, but these guys just are so absolutely annoying. And you think they're annoying me. Wait till you get a load of what God's going to have to say about them.
Yeah, he's a Jewish evangelist.
It's rabbinical rubbish, right, Dr. Jeff?
Boy, refuting rabbinical rubbish. He's what he has behind him.
The new Dr. Jeff and Miss Leah show.
Rated triple R.
I'll have to loan you my feed. So here's these guys. Play this one. It's really, really short. Just go ahead and play it. One guy bows to it, the other guy spins it around. I think they snuck in a Hashem and an Adonai on that, didn't they? Why would people who are acting religious hold up the Torah? The Torah is the most anti-religious book ever written. God constantly says, my people are destroyed because they are stupid. And they're constantly being religious, and God constantly says, you are just revolting. They were so annoying during the entire time. And it didn't start well, and it did not end well. There is no well in their whole get along. And the Torah is by far the most anti-religious book of all. And these boys are playing box boy and tassel boys and holding up the Torah as if it somehow sanctifies them when in fact it condemns them. I mean, wake up. If you're Jewish, wake the hell up. The Torah does nothing but say you're revolting, that your religious and political rubbish stink to high heaven, and your attitude is rotten. It's begging you to change.
They are arrogant. They are insolent. They are stiff-necked, and it's beyond belief of any rational
maybe
person.
too much of the head bobbing, the little guy over here. Just, you do that long enough and, it rattles the brains.
Yeah.
Especially if you bang it into Herod's wall.
They're good at that too. Yeah, they love to do it there.
They have the benefit of having the great Isaiah scroll in their midst.
Mm-hmm.
What does Yashia say about religion?
It's the first 10 chapters are devoted to a single subject of God saying, I don't want any part of your God-forsaken religion. You're miserable malcreants. Go away. I have nothing to do with you. Can't stand you. I despise you. That's what it says.
What does the second statement say?
It tells us in 8 different ways. Don't be religious. Don't be around religious images. Don't be around religious people. Don't speak on behalf of religious gods. Don't be influenced in any way by the religious, because otherwise you'll be condemning your own sons to the 3rd and 4th generation.
And when Moshe came into Yahweh's midst, did Yahweh say, "Tell him Hashem sent you"?
No, there was no Hashem. So they want to pretend like they love the Torah, and yet they won't listen to what Yahweh told Moshe. They want to be religious, and they're not paying any attention to what happened when the children of Israel entered across the Gulf of Aqaba and were in the shadows of Mount Choreb. And the first thing they did, wasn't it, build a religious idol and started worshiping it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And what was God's response? Oh, that's so nice. I'm so glad you're being religious. Yeah, I just love religion. That is so heartwarming of you. You're so cute. I just love the little cow and gold. Oh, that was a nice twist.
Nice
what did he do? He swallowed them, right? He had the earth
In
swallow
pit.
them. He didn't want anything to do with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Congratulations. Here's your sign. You are stupid too. Oh boy, the dumpster. Listen to this. I think I have this queued up on 2 different posts. This may not have the great volume, so you may need to tone up the volume just a little bit. But in this particular post, that I don't think that Donald has ever been worse than he is in Ankara right now. He gets off of Air Force One, and it's like he's lost. He has to have his pal Erdogan, who is his twin. So Trump was born with an evil twin. It's Erdogan. And he has to hold him underneath his arm just to keep him standing upright and to point him in the right direction. And this whole exercise has been, oh, God, I love this man. This is the best man ever. I just love this man. I'm going to remove all those terrible sanctions that some idiot must have placed on Turkey for buying Russian air defense systems. Oh, was I that idiot that put those sanctions? Oh, yeah, I was. But, okay, but we're going to remove them. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to sell them F-35 jets. Yeah, let's sell F-35 jets to the very dictator that wants to annihilate Israel. It's going to be fun. And I just love Erdogan. The only reason I'm here, I hate NATO. I'm only here because I just love Erdogan. He's my brother from a different demon. Anyway. Here is the dumpster. You got a war that he can't get out of. He finally signs a surrender document after agreeing to a 10-point plan that was a surrender. He then reneges on that. And finally, that 10-point plan is materialized with more detail as a 14-point MOU, Memorandum of Understanding. He actually signs it this time. We have pictures of his signature on it in the modern version of the Treaty of Versailles as a capitulation. And it's total and complete surrender. He got nothing. He lost everything. And then the same day that he signs it, he violates his own treaty. He threatens Iran. And then Israel also violates it. And Israel was put in a checkmate position by Iran in it. And then he violates the terms of the Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz, under that MOU, is controlled by Iran, full stop. It's not Iran plus somebody. The Strait of Hormuz is controlled by Iran according to the MOU and also according to reality. And while the Iranians are committed under their jurisdiction to allowing free trade through the Strait of Hormuz for 60 days, after which they can charge whatever they want. For 60 days, it is only after the United States releases $325 billion and removes all sanctions from Iran. Then the Straits of Hormuz would be open under Iranian management. The U.S. released some, didn't release the other, and then decided, no, they want to have their own corridor through the Straits of Hormuz that was outside the one that they agreed to with Iran. And so Iran said, well, then boo-hoo to you, and they blew up the ships. So rather than admit, okay, I violated the agreement, I violated the agreement, I violated the agreement, I violated the agreement, and they responded to me violating the agreement, Trump decided we're going to go back to war. Because nothing says insane better than going back and doing the same thing and expecting a different result. But that's indeed what he did. But he didn't just go back to war. And think about it right now. You got 20 million people that are mourning the deaths of a family that was in the leadership of that country that he murdered. One of them was a 2-year-old little girl. And while they're mourning the leaders that he murdered, he lashes out at them and calls them vicious. He calls them scum. Now, I've been following the prophets for a long time. I've known, as have most people, that there was going to be a corporeal manifestation of Satan that would arise. And because of the way that it's presented in Isaiah and the 17th and 18th chapters, it is obvious that it had to be 7 years before Yahweh's return with Dowd in 2033. And therefore on Shabuah, 7 years before would be the initiation of this time of trouble, which was 22 of May of this year. So we are now 1 month into the time of Israel's troubles, indeed the world's troubles. And the description of the nation that betrays Israel is vivid. It's clearly the United States of America. So we knew it would be the President of the United States of America. And then when you go back and you look at what Gabriel told Daniel, and you read all of the prophecies in Yoel about this individual who is in the Psalms and again in Isaiah called Rahab, sexual pervert, egomaniacal, psychopath, overt liar, confabulator, even called the copper con, goatish comb over hair, long in days, really old fart. When you read all of that and you say, oh, wow, so we have him now, the corporeal manifestation of Satan that is going to destroy the world is Donald Trump. And so we made that announcement 2 years ago. Even knowing all of that, this is still hard to take. And what I mean by that is that I could never have envisioned a world where a man that's as big a piece of shit as the man is there in the yellow tie would say the kinds of things he says about people that he just tore up an agreement that he signed with, that he has attacked twice already, and this now the third time, that he savagely murdered their leadership, and then he condemns them. This is so far beyond what anyone could possibly expect.
Mm-hmm. And he does it flippantly. He does it flippantly. He does it like it's nothing. Yeah, it's right.
Nothing. And so the only reason that the world isn't just eliminate this bastard before he eliminates the world is that he's been doing it so long. and has been so evil and so maniacal for so long, and he has so many dupes like Cruz, and we're going to hear from Lindsey Graham, so many little Hitler's little helpers around him, and Fox News and the like, and X as a platform, and now even Facebook, that people aren't fazed by it anymore. He can go off and say the most vile things, and it doesn't even faze anyone. I mean, in a normal world, the news report that we highlighted a little over a week ago, that now we have absolute proof that not only did the United States instigate the regime change that has led to the war, the proxy war with Ukraine against Russia, we now have absolute proof that the war was begun by Ukraine at Zelensky's order with Ukrainian special forces. Absolute and irrefutable proof. And no one talks about it. How could you have a war that's being fought under false pretenses, that has killed 2 million people, and has the world on the precipice of nuclear annihilation, and nobody wants to talk about it? Instead, he can have sitting next to the head of NATO, he has this vile diatribe of a nation that a week ago he was praising for being smart people and tough negotiators. And the very MOU that he was praising as his great accomplishment, it was a surrender, that he signed a little over a week ago. And this is what he has to say now. Play it, please.
Mr. President, is the ceasefire over? Is the ceasefire done? Is the MOU dead?
It's a very interesting question. To me, I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore. They're scum. You know what scum is? They're scum. They're sick people. They're led by sick people. And they're vicious, violent people. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they'd use it. As far as I'm concerned, it's over.
Mr. President.
They're vicious, vile people. And you're the guy that has attacked them now 3 times. Viciously and with great vile.
His psychopathology and his psychopathy and psychosis have become normalized. It's basically, it's become normalized. The other thing you're not hearing is that overnight, 85 U.S. bases were hit.
They were.
And then he
I
had
there were 85 strikes on U.S. bases. We don't have 85 bases within striking range of Iran. But I think 85 strikes on U.S. bases last night, which is the stated Iranian response to aggression.
And then
I would tell you that the U.S. ploy is slightly different. The previous 2 times that the U.S. went and bombed Iran, the U.S. was conducting negotiations with them, and they were making significant progress. In the midst of the negotiations, America blindsided Iran and bombed them. This time, it's slightly different tactic because America signed a surrender document to Iran and then bombed them after signing the surrender document saying they wouldn't bomb them.
Exactly.
Well, if you're an American, you're proud of being an American, you're sick. You're just sick.
Did you hear
I don't even care if you're a Democrat and you hate this SOB. But you say, I'm proud of being an American with what America is doing around the world and has done around the world. You're sick. You're really, really sick.
It's embarrassing. Did you hear he had the audacity also to say, I'm going to fly on the old Air Force One. I'm going to showcase the Qatari new Air Force One.
Yeah, he's a special kind of evil. Again, we declared that he was the person that Christians know as the Antichrist. There's actually no Christ, so you can't be an Antichrist. But he is anti-Messiah because Dowd is the Messiah, and he is the most ruthless person in the history of humanity pursuant to God. There is no person that has ever lived that will be more egregious in terms of what Yahweh cares about than this man, because he is the living incarnation of Satan. He is the person that was spoken of so many times by the prophet, and you're witnessing him.
Rahab is running wild. The other thing he said today is that Bibi is a great wartime president and leader and premier, but I want to take credit for having Israel existing, because without me, they'd be gone. And guess what I did today? I facilitated an agreement between Israel and Lebanon. They haven't spoken for a while. So now they're talking, and it's a great accomplishment. And I'm going to have my friend here, Jelani. I think the Syrians will be able to rein in Hezbollah and take care of the issue there. And we're going to have a peace here now.
Yeah, so let's take all those things into consideration. First of all, Jelani and Macron just crawled out of bed in Damascus. And so Jelani comes to a NATO meeting. I didn't know that Syria was part of NATO, but I must have been mistaken. And Trump, who is a psychopath, and psychopaths actually find great comfort around other psychopaths. That's why Erdogan and Donald Trump get along so well. Jelani is the former head of the Islamic State, called ISIS, and he is a terrorist. He is an Islamic terrorist, and because of American malfeasance in Syria, where the CIA wanted a regime change so that Assad would be gone, and they didn't want to get rid of Assad because he was a dastardly dude. They wanted to get rid of Assad because he was buying Russian weapons, and the CIA's function is to get the entire world to buy American weapons. And so they wanted him gone, and they ended up replacing him with the Islamic State. And the Islamic State is a result of George Bush and General Petraeus and their awakening program in Iraq, where they decided they would arm Sunni militias to allegedly go after al-Qaeda when al-Qaeda happens to be Sunni. Now, what they're really trying to do is to have Sunni Muslim militias hold off the Shia Muslim militias that were so ruthless on American troops. And so they came with this great idea called the Awakening Program, that they would give weapons to Sunni Muslims. That weaponry program, called the Awakening Program, is the basis, the literal foundation of the Islamic State in Syria, ISIS, that just became the Islamic State overall. And so what didn't exist of al-Qaeda in Iraq became the very manifestation of the Islamic State. Al-Jelani migrated from using the name al-Qaeda to using the name Islamic State as one became more popular than the other. That is who he is. Trump loves him. Macron loves him. Erdogan loves him. These are psychopaths, and they're in a love fest. Well, you can't really call it, they're in a hate fest together. So that's the first. And of course, now Trump wants to remove all sanctions from Syria, because Syria is it's now headed by his pretty boy Jelani, and they're going to do away with Hezbollah. All Hezbollah was in Syria was a bridge to Lebanon, and an enemy of Assad who is now gone. And Jelani doesn't allow any difference, any religious options in Syria. And so he's going to deal with Hezbollah the same way that he dealt with the Druze, the same way he dealt with the Alawites, the same way he's dealing with the Christians, which is mass murder. Yep. So but that's swell that he's going to be doing so without any sanctions and with Trump's blessing and Macron's blessing too. That's so nice of them. And between that, removing the sanctions on Turkey for buying Russian defense, air defense systems, which, by the way, Turkey has affirmed that they have done and will continue to do, but they don't want the NATO sanctions against them for doing so, but because They're from the same demon. Trump says, well, we'll forgive and overlook that. No big deal. And we'll sell you the F-35s. So you can go off and kill some Jews because that's the only thing you would ever use them for. Oh, yeah. And let's forget about the fact that Erdogan is a dictator, that anytime there's an uprising against him, he finds a way to put all the people that led those uprisings in prison and torture them. But let's not bother with that. Or the fact that he's genocidal and has been genocidal against the Kurds for his entire life. Or that he is opposed to acknowledging that Turkey was genocidal against the Armenians. Let's not bother with that either. Or that Erdogan in the last year has on several occasions says that his intention is to annihilate Israel. But we're all buds. He's such a great man.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up his bloodlines from 1915 with the Armenian genocide shine true. And I just want to emphasize to anyone who's listening and saying this, that Jelani, who now wears a tie with a nice knot, he is responsible for giving the orders for putting Yazidi women into cages and roasting them and burning them alive.
That is correct.
Multiple times. Okay?
That is who he is. That is who he is. He is another of Satan's little helpers. And Satan's little helpers now are running the world. And if you have any allegiance to that flag right there, shame on you. Shame on you. Or allegiance to that NATO flag on the other side, shame on you. Disgusting. So
Rubio defends Trump sanctions.
Yeah, so this is pretty interesting in that you can go ahead and play this, but it's
President Donald Trump said during his attendance at the NATO summit in Turkey this week that he may remove sanctions on the nation and consider selling them F-35 fighter jets. I can tell you, we're going to be taking the sanctions off, President Trump told reporters. We're working very closely with Marco Rubio, Scott Bessent, and with Pete and everybody else. We're going to be taking the sanctions off. It's time to do that.
Okay, now, first of all, he's the one that put the sanctions on. It was Trump 45. It's like when he was condemning whoever appointed Powell to the Federal Reserve being a Democrat idiot. Well, it was Trump that appointed him. So that's first. Second, he's not talking about selling them the F-35s. He's going to sell them the F-35s. And now the most interesting thing is he talks about how I'm working with Rubio on this. Just a week ago, he sent Rubio to Congress, and in testifying to Congress, they were asked about the sanctions on Turkey, since that's where he was headed. And Rubio said they can't be removed. We don't have the authority to remove them. And here now he says, I'm working with Rubio because we're removing them. Law doesn't mean anything to him. What he said yesterday doesn't mean anything to him. This is the man who is single-handedly destroying the world and creating this smokescreen of chaos along the way.
Yeah.
He wants to present himself as he's wearing a sun cap. They got that from the Greeks. That is not Torah material there. That is from the Greeks. So he's got his sun skull hat. That's the reason why the popes wear the same one, by the way. And he wants people to believe that he is a divine sanction from God to be the light to the nations.
Light to the nations.
I'm going to tell you, pal, your light is darker than that morning suit that you're wearing. Snuffed out. And you will be no more in 7 years. So you might as well get whatever you have to say. Whatever light you want to shine, you better shine it now, because it's going to be snuffed out entirely.
How much light is there in Sheol?
Yeah, there's no light in Sheol. So maybe you'll have a little flashlight. Maybe you'll be the little flicker that glows in Sheol.
Oh, goodness gracious.
God hates Judaism. He hates Christianity. He hates Islam. Just the truth of it. It's religion is the great curse in the world. Oh, this will tear your hearts out. Go ahead and play this one.
Hello world, my name is Zara. I'm just 14 months old. I departed this cruel world due to a missile strike alongside my mother and granddad by the Epstein coalition led by Orange Ape Donald and Dirty Rat Netanyahu. I was the first victim of the illegal and criminal war on Iran. Yet none of you even heard of me, since Netanyahu's tribe are running your media. Rise up against these Baal-worshipping demons.
Well, there's a real rise today, and Baal is getting a bad rap. Good grief. Yahweh even calls himself Baal. It means husband. I was Baal to you. I was a husband to you. The last word picture embraces Baal as the husband of the Amma, who is Ashar, the most blessed woman in history. It is like everything of Yahweh, in that Satan disguises it and twists it to serve his purpose. For example, Ashar is one of the most commonly repeated words in the Torah. It's the name of one of the 12 tribes of Israel. It is what Leah referred to herself when she says, I am a blessing to all women, Ashar. It is the title of the Amma, the most important woman in God's story. She is Ashar. It means to reveal the benefits of the relationship and to show the way to get the greatest joy out of life. It's a very important term. And yet it became Asherah as a mother goddess under Satan's influence. But if you don't understand its basis and how it was twisted, then you throw away all the good because of the perversion. And that's not the appropriate approach. Now, the same thing is true with Baal. Baal's primary meaning actually is husband. And the covenant is a marriage relationship, a family relationship between a husband and wife, mother and father. And God views that relationship of a husband to his wife as exceedingly important. That's why he uses the term for himself. But since Baal also means Lord, Satan craves it because he doesn't want to be known as the adversary. He wants to be known as the Lord God of religion. So you have the same name that is positive twisted to be negative by the religious who are serving Satan. Now, that said, the Jews do not control the media. The media now is controlled by the tech oligarchs. And while there are some of them who are Jewish, most are not. And the one who is Jewish, his ethnicity is meaningless. As for the Epstein class, or low class, or no class, sheer little diatribe there would be right about Donald Trump. That's a huge part of why he went to war with Iran, was to take attention away from the Epstein files. And he's done a really good job of confabulation so that no one's talking about the Epstein files because he's got so many other stupid things going. And Netanyahu is an evil one. I don't have any problem calling him out to be murderous and counterproductive for his own people. But he is not Epstein class. He has nothing to do with Epstein. So this is a little bit of let's play to conspiracies, but for the most part, I was the first casualty of this illegal war on Iran, and you don't even know my name. And I'm 14 months old. And the United States, Donald Trump murdered me. That's very, very effective messaging.
Yes. It is very effective.
It's effective. And the point of the message is to to me anyway, very much driven home as, first of all, we have this blue-eyed child where her father and mother, neither one of them had blue eyes, okay? But there's this thing about a blue-eyed child, okay? Very pretty little girl. And where's her hijab? Why isn't she all covered up? Where's her head? You know?
Well,
there's nothing Islamic about this child.
Yeah. She's obviously not dressed as an Islamic child, even though she's being held by an Islamic dictator.
Mm-hmm.
But there is an age about the age that Muhammad started having sex with Aisha, 6 years old. Muhammad happened to be 66 when he started having sex with a 6-year-old, which normally would be called pedophilia, except in Islam it's considered prophetic. But under 6, they don't have to walk around in tents. So they're free not to be in tents until they're 6. But prior to being 6 is when they have their genitals mutilated. It's not exactly a sweet experience. And the Ayatollah before the Ayatollah is the one who wrote the Little Green Book, which I think we've put back on our site. The Little Green Book tells Muslims how to rape girls this young. Actually tells them how to officially rape little girls this young. That's the kind of scum they actually are. Mm-hmm. If you want to deal with who they really are based upon their religion, the Ayatollah's Little Green Book tells Muslims how to rape little girls this age. It tells them how to engage in bestiality and what they can and can't do with the sheep. They can savage and ravage the sheep any way they want to. They just can't sell the meat from that sheep in their own little village. They have to hawk the meat to the little lammy that they've ravaged in the next town. That Little Green Book just tells you how perverted the religion is.
Craig, isn't there
your daddy is a scum. Yeah. Your grandpappy there, he is a scum. Yeah. Now, Trump calling him a scum because Trump reneged on his own deal and murdered him is repulsive. Mm-hmm. I'm in a different position. I've not only read and studied the Ayatollah's Little Green Book and know how perverted it is, particularly in the way that it ravages little girls like this, but also have written the most comprehensive analysis ever. I combined to expose the truth about Islam. No one has ever taken the Quran, reordered it chronologically, set it into the context of Muhammad's own words and deeds as they are presented in the oldest hadith to explain exactly who that religion is. And Muhammad was incestuous. He was a pedophile. He was a rapist. He was a ruthless terrorist. And that is the regime that this little girl was born into. So there are lots of reasons to dislike this, to dislike it enormously. But what you ought to be using is your words, not your bombs.
Yeah.
There's a counter to this girl's statement.
Wielding words wisely, as you've been saying for many years.
The counter.
Isn't there a tradition in Islamic culture as well that young boys who are young enough not to have beards can also be sexually molested by other men?
Well, there is a tradition. There's the Quran is interesting in this regard. Muslims don't want to deal with this, but the fact is that several of the depictions of the virgins in the garden that Muslim jihadists go to if they kill enough Jews, several of the depictions are boys butter side up. And so homosexuality, which is forbidden on terra firma here, is on the menu in Allah's brothel of a paradise. So not only are there young girls who remain perpetual virgins, even no matter how many times they are conquered by the savages that are mass murdering terrorists, there are boys who are offered the same thing. And that's the reason why there is Bacha throughout many Islamic cultures. Bacha is boy play. It was all over in Afghanistan that every community that was liberated from the Taliban, they went back to the the tribal elders, and the first thing they did is find the cutest little boy, and they chain him to a bed, bottom up, and they gang rape him. And so that is the nature of this culture. So, sweet little blue-eyed girl, that's what you were being born into. It's a shame that your life was taken so tragically by Donald Trump, and there's no excuse for that. But your grandpappy, he leads a cult that is a curse of humankind, and that's just the truth of it.
Before we get off this topic, Craig, I want to just emphasize something that you brought up about, the term like Baal, and in the different contexts, even in titles such as El, we look at the Canaanite god whose name is, whose title is El. El. It's what Satan does so effectively, where he just deftly perverts words, titles, names to fit his agenda.
Yeah, I would say all of that is true except for one thing, and I may be guilty of making the same mistake from time to time. I don't think Hasatan's got much going for him, quite honestly. He is not the confabulator. Sure, he inspires certain people to be exceedingly devilish, like he demon-possessed both Muhammad and Paul to create both Christianity and Islam. And they both admitted they were demon-possessed. So he's right in your face saying, yeah, I did it, and I'm proud of it, and I'd do it again. However, just as the case with Donald Trump, who is Satan incarnate, and so was Paul, so was Muhammad, again, by their own admission, Satan requires partners, patsies, people that he can use. He is not doing this on his own. He picks people that are particularly susceptible to what he wants, such that they are all psychopaths. They're all egomaniacal. They're all naturally confabulators. They have no respect for God or for truth. So he has a type, and he only works through that type. And this little girl's grandfather is his type. But today, the clearest, most overt manifestation of Satan using someone, of demon possessing someone, is Donald Trump. You want to see him also, by his own admission, Tucker Carlson has admitted that he's demon possessed.
This is the Lindsey Graham circle of death.
Because it's just stunning.
If the Iranians can't agree, the president has instructed the Pentagon to be prepared to go forward with a full, large-scale assault of Iran, which could come on a moment's notice. There could be another option, the circle of death.
He wants to get the nuclear dust. There's another way to do it, and I talked to him about it yesterday. Draw a circle around where we know it's at. Call it the circle of death. Anybody goes inside the circle is going to die until we can find a way to deal with this. The goal is to make sure they can't retrieve it. They can't make a dirty bomb. They can't further enrich. Their enrichment capability has been obliterated at least for a couple of years.
If the Iranians...
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's astounding. And Fox News is the den of thieves here. All right, let's just talk about some fundamentals. The Iranians, in all likelihood, already have a nuclear device. And their rhetoric now is that they would gladly give up nuclear devices so long as Israel gives up theirs. But while Israel has theirs, the United States has theirs, and they're being threatened by Israel and the United States that both have them. Iran has to have one. The likelihood is they did a deal between China, Russia, and North Korea, and they received both even more sophisticated long-range missiles and nuclear warheads. Iran has been in a position for the last 10 years that at a week's notice, they could convert their enriched uranium to nuclear bombs. And they had done all the other testing and had all the other proper devices to accomplish that, including tritium. And so when America bombed Iran the last time over this, what we know is that the Iranians moved all of their enriched uranium out of Fordo before it was bombed. You can watch the satellite images of it. Where they took it, we do not know. Can't draw circles around it. And while Iran was given all incentive to complete their bomb after the last bombing they absorbed from the United States and Israel a little over a year ago, this next attack proves that Iran can't survive without a bomb. And so these are Persians. They're reasonably smart people. They're going to have a bomb. They're Israel and America, rather than preventing Iran from having a bomb. And Iran, under the Ayatollah, went 20 years with the ability to produce a bomb and didn't produce one. But we go kill them. We get a leadership that is badly maimed based upon our bombing. We killed members of their family, a 14-month-old little girl. And now they have every incentive to have a bomb. Rather than Trump saving Israel, which he claims I'm the only reason Israel exists today, the opposite is true. He's the great betrayer of Israel. Israel will cease to exist as an independent nation over the next 7 years because of Donald Trump. But now Iran has to have a bomb. It's just no two ways about it. The high likelihood, I would say, in the 90 plus percentile, is they already have them. And they were incentivized to build them because of Iran, because of the United States and Israel. Now, as for Lindsey Graham's claim with the circle of death, we draw a circle around where we know they have that material, and we eliminated their ability to refine more. That was the Trump, we completely destroyed it. The fact is that the Iranians have at least 40 underground sites to enrich uranium. We do not know how many they have all total beyond that 40, but we know they have 40. They make their own centrifuges. They don't even import them. In any one of those sites, they could refine 60% uranium to 87% weapons grade uranium in less than a week. And they have missiles buried everywhere so they can deliver them. So there is no drawing rings around the sites where we know they have it, stupid, because there are at least 40 sites. That'd be 40 rings. That's a lot of damn rings. And even then, you wouldn't know if you had them all.
You've seen the videos of them bombing Fordham and these sites, right, that are taken from cell phones, and you see the neighborhoods that are built around these places. People live there. This idea of a circle, people live there. You know what I mean? It's like this idea of, okay, bomb everything within the circle.
But the fact of the matter is you can't do it because the only chance that you have of disabling one of these refining sites, locations, is you have to drop one of these deep penetrators into a ventilation shaft and have it hit that ventilation shaft and explode within the shaft, and to have the all other ventilation shafts closed so that it creates a pressure wave inside of it. Mm-hmm. So is there the possibility that in Fodor, for example, that they hit the ventilation shaft, exploded in the ventilation shaft, and the Iranians had all other ventilation release points closed so that there was a pressure wave, and therefore what's in that is gone? Yeah, there's that possibility. So what? 39 others.
Right.
So what? 39 others. And the uranium's not there. That's why the Iranians keep on saying, yeah, the Americans want to go dig it out. No, they have at it. Dig all you want. Uranium's not there.
Right.
So now what? And that's the problem. It is whack-a-mole, and they have been in whack-a-mole mode for 47 years because they've watched how the United States acts, and they came up with a plan to defend themselves against American belligerents, and they're insulated from it. So this idea you're going to go draw circles and drop more bombs, that is insane. You've been doing that now 4 months, and all it has done is cripple the world's economy and bludgeon America's image and destroy your allies in the region and destroy the petrodollar in the process.
Wasn't the first part of this video
been counterproductive? It continues to be counterproductive. Draw your circle of death. I would draw a circle of death. I'd put one right around Palm Beach, Florida, maybe, so long as it's a little circle. A little circle in the Carolinas where the devil's apprentice likes to hang out.
Right.
We have some little circles there. Maybe over the Pentagon, have another little circle there. And we can have some circles.
Wasn't the first part of this video about invasion as well? We have two options, right? I mean, the first part of this video was a first strike, ready to go at a moment's notice. We're authorizing.
I was listening to the term, and I'm not sure it was invasion, but it had that implication. Of course, this is Fox News, and so Fox News is the devil's propaganda channel. Satan does news is Fox. And it's soon to be CBS, and it is Newsmax, and it's a bunch of others that are now, and it's X, it's Facebook, it's what's happened to the world. But the first did sound like that. I listened to it a second time and said, I don't think he actually said invasion. I think he just wants to. The new theme is we're going to finish the job, and we're just going to blow them all up. We're just going to kill a bunch of them and blow them all up, and we'll finish the job. And if we bomb them enough, they're going to really like us, and we'll do a deal. But they'll have to come crawling to me for that to happen.
Right.
The bloviation is unbelievable, and you have to also consider, and I know you're well aware of this, is you have the Chinese and the Russians behind Iran. You have North Korea as well, and it's ridiculous. And I would think that there are people in the U.S. who know exactly the score, what's going on.
The fact of the matter is, Jeff, in that 20 million people that are attending Khomeini's funeral, you know how many nations sent official delegations?
All of them.
70. Oh. No, well, I can't say all of them because the Iranians specifically told the Europeans, stay away. We don't want to see you.
Mm-hmm. Many.
But yeah, 70 nations sent delegations to Iran. Yeah. This is the biggest slap in the face, maybe in the history of the world. And then Donald Trump having the audacity to go off and say, I thought they hated him. I'm surprised. I by that turnout, I thought they hated him.
Well, like you said last week, he praised the Persian people for being bright. This week, he called them very sick for following them.
Yeah, scum and vicious. And you know what scum is? Yes, sir. Look in the mirror.
Yeah,
I do.
Take a
Look in your diaper. Yes, sir. I know what scum is.
And then he also,
interesting. Go ahead.
He also had the temerity and audacity to say, with the United States, we're the only country in the world that has the heavy equipment to dig up the uranium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. By the way, that happens not to be true because most of the heavy equipment is made in other countries around the world, and one does not dig through the mountain hundreds of meters down. You tunnel, you don't dig. But these are the least of the confabulator's problems. You know how he began this particular summit? He says, I'm going to tell you the reason I hate NATO. I'm going to tell you the reason I hate NATO is I wanted Greenland and you wouldn't give it to me. Denmark, you don't need Greenland. You don't give money to Greenland. You don't need Greenland. We need Greenland. You know why we need Greenland? Because there are Russian and there are Chinese boats that are sailing around Greenland, and that's never going to happen. That's what he said.
We're so screwed.
Yeah.
America, you elected Satan. Sweet dreams, baby.
Who can't keep two independent thoughts in his head at one time. I mean, you can just see the briefings before he goes someplace that they're, it just Greenland.
Oh, I don't think they even try anymore. I don't think they try. No. I mean, it's just clean up on aisle 3, clean up on aisle 9.
Right.
Oh my God, did he poop out a bunch of mess on aisle 11? Oh, what do we got on aisle 13? Would somebody turn off the cameras, please?
Yeah. Is this policy
have a strict
now?
limitation of 10 confabulations per day. He's reached his quota this day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then it was all over NATO because they didn't join his war on Iran, and that America gives NATO all this money. He's at a NATO summit and he's condemning NATO, and he says, we give NATO billions and billions and billions, and they just don't play. The United States gives NATO millions and millions, not billions and billions. And there's no NATO clause that says we think that you ought to go bomb a country like Iran and get the Strait of Hormuz closed. There really isn't a clause like that in the NATO charter. So I don't know what you're thinking about, but
I'm not sure that the NATO charter has ever been used because every time
Article 5 was called on the NATO charter when the Muslims suicide bombed New York on 9/11.
Okay.
Yep, it has been used.
It's a defense pact. So if one country's then not we're going to go remove Saddam Hussein pact.
That is correct. That is correct.
Not a go. We're going to go.
And even in defense pact, for example, if Russia retaliated against Germany, France, and the UK for supplying weaponry and targeting of Russian cities, Article 5 wouldn't apply because it would be Russia responding to an attack that was perpetrated initially by a NATO nation. So the NATO charter does not apply to that. It would not apply, of course, to the two attacks on Iran. Not even.
Lastly, speaking of Russia, guys, he did slip in another comment with Zelensky saying, "You know what? We're so proud of you that we're going to allow you to build your own drones and missile interceptor defense systems. We'll help you, but you can do it now, boys."
Yeah, Zelensky is, of course, there with his hand out begging. Less than a week after it's been proven that he started the war, he's out there begging and condemning Ruskies. And all you see now is article after article after bribed think tank after bribed think tank telling us that the Russians are losing the Ukraine war. When, I watch the program almost every night to see what's happening in that war. And the line of the Russians is going down south. It's going up from the south to the north. It's going from the north to the south. It's going from the east towards the west. The line doesn't move the other way.
Well, will Putin survive this?
What are they thinking?
Will Putin survive this? Will he take the definitive action? Or will he be removed?
It's a tough call for him because, of course, what Putin has been the only person that has sponsored peace. He's the only one. And he has tried to overcome the aggression of NATO and the aggression of the United States and the belligerence of the Ukrainians in every way possible. And he does not want to destroy Kiev. He doesn't want to occupy Western Ukraine. He knows those people. He knows they're graft-ridden and they're way too expensive and they're malcontents and they're prone towards what we refer to as Nazism because of their anti-Semitic and violent nature. He didn't want any part of them. And he would really like to do business with Europe as opposed to war with Europe. And he knows that Well, NATO is now a paper tiger. An ongoing war with NATO is in no one's interest, and it could turn really bad and turn nuclear, and no one wins a nuclear war. So he wanted to lay low, if you will, to defend the ethnic Russians in the Donbass region in the east and in the south and Crimea and and that's been done. He has, they have all voted, and they are now fully part of Russia. That's never going to change. And now he's developing what he calls buffer zones, protection zones around those regions. And they're becoming larger and larger. And if the Ukraine and Europe continue to attack, his strategy of outlasting the idiots like Macron and Starmer and Merz will have failed because they're now too aggressively demanding war with Russia. And so I don't think he can survive them. And therefore his strategy has failed. And he either needs to defend Russia or step down and let somebody else do it. So that's where Putin is at this point. He needs to either defend Russia or step down. We'll see how he plays it. I can tell you the last few nights, if you look at the video out of Kiev, oh my goodness. And this time it's munitions factories. So because you see the missile hit and then the secondary explosions, just like fireworks going off. So they are hitting munitions facilities, and they are not. This war has escalated significantly.
Yeah, Russia doesn't do shock and awe. Russia does very specific, targeted areas that if we're going to spend money, we're going to get a return on our investment. We want to make sure we know exactly what we're hitting.
That is what they're doing, unless they detour Europe. It's for naught. And because the Ukrainians have integrated drone manufacturing into the civilian communities, and the CIA and Mossad and MI6 are using civilian housing. They have to attack civilian facilities as well, and this gets to be really messy. And as the U.S. has learning in Iran that you can't missile yourself to victory. The missiles are too expensive, and their overall firepower is too limited. So you cannot missile yourself into victory. The only thing you can use missiles against that will bring a country to its knees are war crimes, bridges, desalinization facilities, power plants, sewage systems. Those kinds of things can bring a country to its knees, and missiles are effective against those. But if you destroy those, you've committed a war crime. And so you're not going to win the war with expensive missiles. You can have a stalemate in a war with drones, but you're not going to win the war with drones. The only way that you can win a war with missiles and drones is if you're attacking a country like Israel.
Just simple size.
They're so small. That a country like Israel can't win a war against missiles and drones. But that is not how Iran is going to respond. The prophets are very clear. They're going to send millions of jihadists into Israel over the next 7 years. Millions. So here we have just a slide that Trump just declared his own Iran peace deal, his surrender over. The same one he bragged about last month. The same one where he agreed to give Iran $300 billion. It's actually $325 billion plus complete sanctions relief. And he got nothing to stop their nuclear program. Nothing. And now the tankers are burning and U.S. bases are under fire. So he built the collapse by himself. Yeah, this POS has gotten no one to blame but himself. We're watching the most demonic leadership in the history of the world. This is so much worse than Stalin and Hitler and Mao. That's what we're witnessing. It's worse than all of them. And you've got the American flag behind it. This is a time that if you think of yourself as an American, you need to rethink your allegiances. Your country, what was your country, has been hijacked, and there's no getting it back. Oh,
54,000, huh?
You know, the first time it was 30,000, then it was 40,000. Now it's 54,000. Boy, I tell you what, it's fun with numbers, huh? He is a decimal place issue. The number was about 4,000. And the 4,000, see 4,000 protesters killed. That's a significant number, but it wasn't 40,000. It wasn't 54,000. And very few of those protesters were innocent, nor were they spontaneous, nor were they grassroots, nor did they have a grievance with the government. They were armed. Many of them received their arms through a proxy program between the CIA and the Kurds.
They were paid.
They were armed, and they went in and burned down mosques, shot and killed police. And so this whole myth of freedom fighters, and remember Trump saying, go ahead and riot because we've got your back, Iran. Now look at what's happened. 20 million people mourning the death of the leader that Trump thought that if he decapitated, they would all flock to him. And he says, I want to appoint the next leader of Iran. And now what are they saying about the egomaniac that says, I'm going to appoint the next leader of Iran? Is that death to Trump? That's what they're saying. So what he does is lie. And yes, we've had 2 programs in a row where we are talking about this man, because he is the most influential person in the world right now. He is the center of Yahweh's prophetic vision. He is Satan incarnate. There really is a Satan. He does demon-possess individuals. The most famous who have admitted it are Paul. In the last chapter of the second letter he wrote to Corinth, he openly admits that he's demon-possessed by Satan. And Muhammad admitted it twice in his life. When he had his first revelation during Ramadan, he tried to commit suicide because it was such a vicious encounter, very much like Paul's experience on the road to Damascus. He was beaten up badly, tried to commit suicide, told his wife that he had been demon-possessed. And at the end of his life, he acknowledged that there's been a demon that's been inside of him the entire time. And of course, in the Quran, there's actually entire surahs devoted to Satan and to demons, and not in a negative way, in a favorable way. And of course, Allah spends all of his time in hell torturing people, so he is, in fact, Satan. And Paul goes to war against Yahweh and his Torah and his people. He demonizes Jews, so it's Satan's, Christianity is Satan's playbook. Today, the most famous person that has admitted that he is demon-possessed is Tucker Carlson. He's going to have a new political party, and he is bribed by the Qataris. Yeah, that's a real strange dude there. He's a guy who was a Christian who said, "Yeah, I'm Episcopal, so we don't really give a hoot. Religion means nothing to me." To a guy now that is trading off the fact that he calls himself a Christian, who has admitted that he was demon-possessed and he was chewed up in bed while the demons possessed him, and takes large bribes from Qatar. That's the world we're in today. Pretty astonishing.
Well, he can hang out with Fuentes and Candace Owens and have Wonderful.
You know, Nick Fuentes is just become like the chill pill of these anti-Semites. You know, the groper and incel king. He's just the chill pill by comparison. You got to keep up with the times, because he was the worst of the worst when Trump invited him to Mar-a-Lago for a powwow. He was the worst of the worst. And now
the torch carrying khaki guys.
He got his little groper and his incels, and he's not even in the running now. There are 4 or 5 women that are far more vile than him. So, yeah, what I think he did is that he just lost track of the dumbness of his audience. He didn't realize that MAGAs and anti-Semites and conspiratorialists are really, really stupid. And so you have to talk
like Tucker Carlson. Yeah, the really high voice of Tucker Carlson seems to work really well. I have one subject: I hate Jews. I blame Jews for everything.
And Candace Owens we're going to get to the truth of who murdered Charlie Kirk. I think it was those dastardly Israelis that murdered my boyfriend, Charlie Kirk. It's Nick Fuentes is a nobody now in the midst of all this. And of course, the king of demons. He has all of the aces when it comes to being the king of demons, is that fellow there. You know, I thought it was really funny that his Ava Braun, the blonde that worships him, and the White House, who does his graphics. She did a graphic of him playing Uno and holding up. He says, "I've got all the cards." Dude doesn't know that the intent of the game Uno is to be the guy that has no cards. So they are really stupid. Yeah, no 54,000. There's no justification for what you've done. You're just a murdering demon, destroying the world. All right. So here's Mark Levine. He's a special kind of crazy too. Erdogan is a madman. Yep, he is. We must not sell him weapons. Hey, dude, he's part of NATO. You know why Turkey is part of NATO? Because the CIA and the military-industrial complex thought it'd be a really fun idea to put U.S. nuclear-armed ballistic missiles in Turkey, so they're right next to the Russian border.
This was of
That's
October.
why the whole Cuban Missile Crisis was for Russia to say, well, if you're going to put missiles inside of Turkey, we're going to put missiles in Cuba. And the best way for us to get the missiles out of Turkey is for us to put them into Cuba, and we'll trade. And of course, everybody wants to praise Kennedy as being the super negotiator when he capitulated. They made the trade. And by capitulating and making that trade, the CIA killed him. So Erdogan is part of, and Turkey is part of NATO because the United States decided to use the genocidal nation to put missiles next to Russia. And now Turkey is buying Russian weapons. So that didn't work out really well. But you're going to have to eliminate him from NATO. And while right now, Erdogan is, and Jelani, 1-2, but particularly Erdogan is Trump's BFF. They supported the massacre of Christian Armenians. The Armenians were Christians. It was a genocide of well over 1 million and likely 2 million people. It occurred after the Turks lost to the Russians at the I think at the end of the First World War, not the Second, but in the First World War, they were retreating. And it's just like the retreat of Huda'biyah with Muhammad. They were thugs, and thugs don't like it when they don't get their bloodlust satiated. And so they robbed and raped and murdered the Assyrian Christians on the way back into Turkey. And so, and ever since that time, Erdogan has been a genocidal against the Kurds, which happen to be Islam light, but they are Muslims. And he has massacred them, not only in Syria, but in Turkey. He's a madman. That is absolutely true. He does threaten Israel. He tells Israel that he wants to annihilate them. I don't have a problem with him being an ally of Putin, but you can't be an ally of Putin right now and be part of NATO. It seems to be kind of counterproductive. And when his own people rise up millions at a time, he's just a ruthless dictator, and he sends them to torturous prisons. So it's stunning who America now is befriending and who America opposes. That's who America has become. And it's deeper than one man. This is a military-industrial complex and tech oligarchs all in bed together, the CIA, the Department of War, senators, congressmen. It's all a cabal. Mm-hmm. And so you can't wave the American flag and say, I'm proud to be an American, and say, I just hate Donald Trump. No, it goes far deeper than that. He's just the spout of this volcano.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is something that has been ubiquitous throughout this. There's been three messages, I should say, that have been ubiquitous through the largest funeral in probably in the history of the world, 20 million people. And that is that the crimes that Israel and America perpetrated against Iran will be avenged. Now, this speaks particularly with Israel of the 3 to 4 million jihadists that Iran is foretold to march into Israel over this next 7 years and devastate the Jewish state. The prophets are very clear on it. I think that with America, the likelihood is that Iran will detonate the proof that they have a nuclear bomb over the U.S. fleet. I think that would make the most sense for where they are mentally at this point. The second thing that they have said, and they say it over and over again, is that Donald Trump, in particular, has to face retribution. That he killed Iranian leaders, he must suffer the same fate. And they are insistent on it. And when you have a nation with what will be hundreds of millions of dollars and billions of dollar rewards for that, his life's going to be miserable over this next 7 years that he endures. The last thing that they are doing, and this goes all the way up to Israqi, who's a very, very smooth character. He will say, we're willing to give up a development of a nuclear bomb. We prefer peace. However, Israel keeps attacking us, and they have nuclear bombs. So the only way we can defend ourselves is to have a nuclear bomb. Mm-hmm. Now, you don't say that as a nation that has been opposed to finishing a nuclear bomb for 20 years, unless you already have them.
Yeah. It'll be, like you say, the proof statement is what the world is holding its breath for. You know, everybody knows, but nobody knows because we haven't popped one off someplace.
Yeah,
you know?
and Iran's in a really an interesting spot here. They would prefer to have that 12-point or 14-point MOU enforced because it's $325 billion in cash for war reparations and return of their assets. It's total sanction relief. And they have total control over the Strait of Hormuz going forward. And they have the end of all American presence in the Arab fiefdom bases. And they have total control, checkmate over Israel. They would prefer that deal be upheld. That's their overwhelming preference. But the regime is really good at responding to American aggression, and every time that happens, they end up stronger over the process. That's why it's insane to bomb them again, because all that did the last time is destroy American bases, destroy Israel, run the world ragged in terms of interceptors, and embarrass the United States while strangling the world of both fertilizer and also of hydrocarbons, so that the world's economy is faltered. So Iran's quite good at prompting itself to be the hegemon of the Middle East by responding. So either way, they're going to prevail in this. And as I've said now for over a year, way before the first attack on Iran, you go to war with Iran, there's no way out. There is no solution. You cannot win, and there is no end game. There is no solution. And that's what Trump's finding. He signed a surrender document. He can't even live with his own surrender document. Mm-hmm. For those that said, no, they're retaliating because they bombed tankers. The agreement says that the passage through the strait is under the responsibility of Iran. The United States tried to cut its own passage, its own corridor, and that even then passage is only possible. The United States releases the money that Iran is owed. The United States stopped sending the money and violated the point as to who controls the Strait of Hormuz. And so the Iranians responded to the American breach of the MOU. To present it the other way is just to be ignorant of what the agreement said and what America did.
Yeah. Iran has already for a very long time had financial and political-ish control over Iraq, right, with our bases there. We have essentially given them physical control over Iraq at this point. And it's just a matter, Oman is leaning their direction. It's just a matter of time before
Oman's
people
not leaning their direction. Oman is in their camp. And Iraq isn't leaning their direction. Iraq is in their camp. America gave Iraq to Iran. That was the stupidity of George Bush's and Petraeus's and Cheney's war on Iraq. We lied about the reasons we went in, and then lied about everything that happened, and lied about every serviceman that died there. I actually did an analysis of the first 500, and nothing the Department of Defense said was true. And so we literally gave Iraq to Iran, and the reason we did that is that because not knowing, not thinking, is that 2/3 of the Iraqis are Shia Muslims, and so they naturally voted for the Shia government, unifying them with Iran. In fact, this funeral is going into Iraq. This funeral procession going through Iraq. And what people don't know, it's but nonetheless is true, is that over 50 Iraqi legislators were arrested earlier this week and thrown in prison. And the United States, from its couple of bases that it still has in Iraq, and they are very few, and they have to hunker down in those bases. And I think we're down to like 5,000 troops there, so they couldn't defend them if they needed to. But in those bases, we still had tanks. Who knows what purpose they are for? But we ran U.S. tanks through the streets of Baghdad. And while this coup was taking place, where over 50 legislators were thrown in jail. Iraq's in a mess.
Well, and my point was that that is the stepping stone to Kuwait, Dubai, and of course Saudi Arabia. When Saudi Arabia realizes that we're not defending them anymore, and we physically can't, and that they can't defend themselves from their own population because there is this pro-Iranian style of Islam that comes in.
Yeah, there is no protecting Kuwait. Kuwait is only distanced by a very few miles from Iran, and it's through Iraq. And so Kuwait is completely vulnerable to Iran. And the Iranians just going through Kuwait and Iraq to get to Israel will rob it blind. So they're pretty assured that's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked about this before, but that futures were, around $70 or $80 a barrel because of the short sales. We've now found that Trump had something in the range of 200,000 stock trades in the last year. It's just a stunning amount. We should have none as president of the United States, and he made doubled his net worth in this last year, even what he is admitting. And his Bitcoin thing was the lead contributor, while Americans overall investors lost hundreds of millions of dollars in his Bitcoin thing, where he made hundreds of millions of dollars. And so it's just stunning. And he has manipulated the markets to create the illusion that he hasn't bankrupted the world. But this time he's really bitten it off, because now there's no negotiating with Iran. And now there not only is no negotiating with Iran, but there's no oil going to flow through the Straits of Hormuz. And good luck with that. All the world has used their strategic oil reserves.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but were not more ships attacked and sunk in the Strait of Hormuz during the ceasefire than before the ceasefire?
It appears so. Yes, it's probably true. I think there were 6 on this last. I don't think they were all sunk, but 6 attacked that were in violation of the MOU in this last go. A couple prior to that, and prior to that, no one tried other than the Chinese, who were authorized to go through.
Right. Yeah. So even that didn't go as planned. No,
nothing. This is the report that I was talking about. This is a very well-educated, well-spoken individual. And Arachi said, reporter, will you give up nuclear weapons? Absolutely, yes. We're committed to peace. And by the way, they haven't attacked anybody, and they didn't build up to this point a nuclear weapon. So he's being honest. Yes, we're committed to peace. So what's the problem? The problem is Israel. It threatens regional peace, and they have nukes. And it can only be controlled, they missed the past tense there, by Iran having nukes. Now, do you think that man that has parroted the national line, we're not developing a nuclear weapon, now says can only be solved by Iran having a nuclear weapon, is just slipped out of character, that he had a Trumpian brain fart, and he didn't really mean it? Or do you think that he is, in fact, giving the justification for what's already happened?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we've got one, and we'll use it at our time, or not just one, but enough to do what we
you don't even
do.
have to use them. You can just say that you attack us again, and we will use them. So you may not want to attack us again.
Yeah. Which last night, Carg Island, there was tons of stuff that was bombed last night. I think you have some video of it on here.
We have some video of it. It was really sad. SpaceX wants to launch 100,000 communication satellites. 100,000. No. What is the value of that unless you want to dominate all communication for the world? You want to control the flow of information. You want to control the 8 billion smartphones. You want to control the internet. You want to be the grand poobah of control. What else is the purpose of doing that? And keep in mind, these average satellites last up between 3 and 4 years.
Yeah.
And they burn back up.
I think their biggest Falcon rocket, I watched one of their flights where they actually went up and they put test satellites in it, only carries like 100 test satellites that auto deploy at a time. So 100, how many launches does it take?
That's 1,000 rockets.
Yeah.
And we can get one a month at this point, maybe one every 3 months.
That's the big boy. Their normal Falcon 9, which they use to lift satellites up for both business and governments, and the U.S. government, spy organizations, that sort of thing, the militaries. They shoot those things off every other day. They fire one of those. They've got their normal low orbit satellite lift capability down. All the show is over Starship and with the heavy booster, and it's Starship that has no purpose. He wants it to go to Mars, and humans will never go to Mars. He wants it to colonize the moon, and that's the dumbest idea ever. It's even more hostile than Mars. So that Starship has no purpose other than it is a perfect Muskian snake oil ploy. Claiming that we can be multi-planetary species. No, you're not.
Multi-planetary.
You got nowhere to go with that thing. That's nothing but a boy and his toy. So it's getting really dry out there. I don't know if you know, but even Trump's saying, America is drying up. The Mississippi is drying up. We can't ship now. The Mississippi is dried up to the point where shipping on it is halted. The barges have run aground. The Euphrates is drying up tragically, where it's a fraction of its former self. The world is drying up. And in Jordan, no water. Israel is the world leader in not only making water. They don't make water; they desalinate it and they cleanse it and purify it again. And they're
damn Jews controlling the world again with their making of the water.
It drip irrigation, and so. All of these folks are now screaming at Israel, we need to do a deal with you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd do a deal with Jordan. You know the deal I'd do with Jordan? Get your hands off the Temple Mount. And I'll give you a cup of water.
Yeah.
Might even give you a cup of water like once a week. But you tear up that agreement on the control of the Temple Mount. And I'll take it from there. Might even give you a whole ton of water for that.
So you're
and
saying
take your crap with you. Don't leave your crap on it. Take your crap.
Don't
with
leave
you
your crap. Those are holy sites. So I don't want to have to, have to scrape away your snot. So take your snot with you, and that'll be just fine. You can have put it in Amman. Make the Muslim holy site with Alaska and the like. Make it in Amman. That's fine.
Like the old days. Put it in Petra.
Yeah, just put it back in Petra. That'll work. Put it back in Petra.
I have a slogan: Mayim for the hoofy print.
Yes, there you go. We'll get Mayim water for the hoofy print. We'll make you a deal there, King.
I just found it interesting. The breaking officials in the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan. I'd never heard it called that before.
Oh,
Hashemite?
It's Hashem. Oh, yeah, and the Beni Hashem was the name of Muhammad's tribe. Muhammad was a Jew. Beni Hashem is the name of Muhammad's tribe, and he's in the Hashemite kingdom. Almost all of the leadership, including, guess who? MBS?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they're all
right.
Jews. They're all Jews. Ethnically, they're all Jews.
Oh, by the way, just a little factoid about the Hashemite kingdom. Does anybody remember what happened in 1970 with King Hussein of Jordan with the Black September when he annihilated the Palestinians or the Fakistinians.
By the tens of thousands.
They did.
Yeah, by the tens of thousands. Yep, he's killed far more Fakistinians than has Israel. Genocide. He's killed far more. And the Kuwaitis have perpetrated apartheid on far more than Israel has by a long shot.
And how many Arab nations want the Fakistinians in their midst?
There used to be 4 or 5 that took them, and they've all rejected them, all vomited them back out. So no, there's no home for the Fakistinians. That's why they, even with Sinai being completely open and most of Jordan being completely open, and 90% of Saudi Arabia is uninhabited. No problem putting them in Saudi Arabia. Nobody will take them.
Yeah.
They're the most malcontent of Muslims.
Yeah.
And so
that's saying something.
The least malcontent of Muslims are usually the government heads, because they don't want the jihadists killing them. So they're usually the most passive of the Muslims or the heads of state. But the most malcontent, the vicious of the Muslims, are those who have adorned themselves with the fake label of Fakistinian.
By the way, in many of great American cities, basically starting with New York, there are cries to call it New Yorkistan now.
Yeah, New Yorkistan. Yeah, I disliked New York on virtually every trip I took there. And I will tell you that even over the next 1,000 years, I will never go back. I really, really dislike that place. And now it's like London. It just was human cesspool. So the supreme leader that replaced, junior supreme leader that replaced, who's mutilated, of course, and replaced the Ayatollah. This is now their, his wife was murdered. His daughter was murdered. His father was murdered by Trump, and they're pulling the heartstrings. So she's one of the bodies in those coffins. That little girl is in one of those coffins. His wife is in one of those coffins. I mean, for all we know, the new supreme leader is in one of those coffins too, but because all we hear is words from him, and not even in his voice, and no images. There hadn't been a single picture, not a single video. And he's a no-show during the funeral procession of his father. There's no way he would be a no-show during the funeral procession of his father if it were not for the fact that he's badly mutilated or dead.
Oh.
Oh, there we go.
Transhumanism.
There we go.
Uploading their minds. But
okay.
I mean, he is an exceedingly evil man. He is the reason that Trump is president of the United States as opposed to in jail. He bears the burden of electing Satan. Then when he had his tizzy fit against Satan because Satan didn't go along with the head of NASA that he wanted, he then accused Trump. He says Trump's name is in the Epstein files, and that's when Trump had a field day against him and said, "Oh, no problem. I'm just going to pull all of government subsidy programs away from all of Musk's companies." Now, Trump didn't have any right to do any of that, but nonetheless, that's what he said he was going to do. And Elon Musk did, Tesla only survives because of the EV tax credit and the tariffs against all import EVs, which is at 100%, which is the only reason that Tesla exists in the United States. And 90% of SpaceX's income comes from government, and on it goes. He said, I better kiss up to the Donald. So we did. And now he sells hype. Yep. Humans are going to live forever by putting their minds into robots.
Yeah.
If your mind in a robot does not work. It is not a computer. It is it does not function in any way, shape, or form like the computer chips. You cannot put your mind into the computer chip. And what makes humans interesting is their consciousness. It's a nephesh that lies in a dimension beyond the 3D of his robot. And we humans we can save our own. We can encourage people to save theirs, but we don't have any control over them. And he doesn't either. And so
Elon wouldn't know what a Nasama was if it bit him in the behind.
No, he doesn't even know what a nephesh is. Nasama would be way beyond him.
What? He can sing "Fly Me to the Moon."
Oh yeah, but it's nice that he has the glowing blue eyes, and he's gone to Iron Man on the glowing chest thing. It's
crazy.
Swell, but it's otherwise black and menacing. And this is a man that had such potential, and he squandered it all. He's become a net liability for the world.
Yeah. Wouldn't you rather be like in a 1983 Trans Am or something, though, as opposed to a humanoid robot? I mean, if you're going to put your consciousness into something, put it into an airplane, a fighter jet, I mean, just saying.
No, I'm not going there either.
No, okay.
No. I'm gonna say, yeah, I like Yahweh's plan. I'm going to envelop mine in light and energy, and I'm going to go explore the universe. Too many fun things to go see and do. So no, mine's not going. Mine's going directly there. I thought this Sunday that it was going to happen soon. I thought that this Sunday, what's that? Archie Bunker, Elizabeth, I'm coming to join you. I was pretty. Oh no, it was Red Fox. I think it was Red Fox. Pardon?
Sanford. Yeah, it was Red.
Sanford had said Red Fox. Was Elizabeth, I'm coming to join you. I thought that that was. I don't know who Elizabeth is, but nevertheless, I thought it was. I had punched my ticket. I was happy about it. I was. Boy, this could be great. But no,
I need to remind you though, Mr. ATP, is that you cannot exceed 186,000 miles per second. Remember that.
Yes, we're still limited by the speed of light. But fortunately, as you accelerate to the speed of light, as you hit the speed of light, time simply is. So when you're dealing with the speed and distance, if speed is distance over time, and if time simply is, you can get from anywhere to anywhere else in no time at all. So I'll not break any speed limits. I haven't gotten a speeding tickets for probably 15 years. I actually prevailed in the court and had it overturned. But probably 15, 20 years since I've had a speeding ticket. Now, I live on an island where the potholes would take out your car if you tried to speed. And it's only 27 miles long.
Very effective.
Yeah. Many opportunities to speed. But
They even have radar guns.
I don't think they do.
No.
I have an idea. If you get stopped again, you just tell the officer, listen, I'm a photon. I'm in the covenant.
Yeah, there you go. When Rich was driving me to the hospital because I thought it could be an appendix or something of that nature. And, you're in this island, there is no prompt care or anything else that's open on Sunday. You only go to the hospital, and the hospital will kill you. And so he managed to hit every pothole, and he thought he was really driving an ambulance. And we hit every pothole, and that is why the stone passed in 7 hours as opposed to a longer period of time. It was
that was the plan.
It was jerked right out of me. I go, ooh, ooh, thank you. Oh, hit me again. Have another, sir.
Wow. That's
great. I showed up at the
ultra,
emergency room of the
light.
hospital. I took one look at that room, and I turned to Leah and said, I'd die before I spend any time here. Go back, we're out of here. Yep.
Now you're reminding me of what my dad says. And he's like, Jeff, despite what you do and who you are, you want to stay healthy, keep the hell away from doctors.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think in that waiting room for the ER I would ever find a doctor. I think that at least half of the 40 people sitting in there had probably died a week or two ago, and no one had bothered to check on them.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was bad. Oh, it was really, really bad. All right, what do we have there, Kevin? Oh, this is great. This is speaking of really, really bad. This is Plaskett is the congresswoman from the U.S. Virgin Islands. I've had her on my boat previously. My closest friend on the island is sponsoring her to be the next governor, which means she'll be the next person to bilk the islands out of millions of dollars. She's the one, by the way, that I asked, since she sits in Congress, why no one can impeach Donald Trump when it's obvious that he has committed all manner of crimes. And her answer was because we're scared to death of him. Her big plan now is to revitalize the refinery and this crude farm that exists on this island. BP, British Petroleum, had control of it last time, and they were backed by the Chinese, and they spent $4 billion trying to rehab the abandoned Hess facility. And Hess built the facility. It was one of the most, in fact, it was number one refinery in the Atlantic Basin, and a huge benefit to the island. I employed 5,000-6,000 people. He built schools, he built hospitals, he built generating power stations for the island, all sorts of things. And the islanders continued to hold out their hands and ask for bribes. And he finally said, I'm just tired of it. I'm just not going to do this anymore. And he not only shut it down, but when he shut it down, he backwashed everything with seawater. And so it's all cancerous from the inside. So BP bought it, thought they would fix it for a few $100 million. And $4 or $5 billion later, they got it to work at about 20% of its prior capacity, but it continued to spute out all manner of caustic materials that coated people's homes and roofs. And you can't coat a roof here because that's how we collect our water. It's our water supply. And so they destroyed huge swaths of the island. And as I said, for a matter of weeks, they got it to work at 10 to 20%. And this is British Petroleum, backed by the Chinese, and spending billions and billions of dollars. And so I call her Epstein's daughter, because she was in the top 3 or 4 people in terms of serving Epstein. Epstein came to the U.S. Virgin Islands. That's Pedophile Island. It's just off the coast of St. Thomas. And it was Virgin Island politicians and lawyers that made that appealing because they were so easy to bribe. And she was one of them. And she's running for governor. And her solution is to fix what BP couldn't fix. But I think it's a little beyond her horsepower. And of course, the big deal is the appeal of that crude farm. And the crude farm, by the way, wasn't shut down. It's still operating. Is that on that crude farm, any sanctioned hydrocarbon from around the world can come, discharge into those, and that's just a tiny fraction of the crude farm. And once they have discharged, they can be put back on their ship or any other ship, and it's no longer sanctioned oil.
Yeah, the
pretty convenient, isn't it?
Yeah,
we should be so proud of what we do.
Right. The deep water ports were another selling point, that it's like one of the best deep water ports outside of,
that's only partial true, because the big tankers can't pull in. They actually, in fact, all of the tankers, they don't pull in. They discharge out at sea, and there's a pipe tubing that they hook up out at sea to discharge into those tanks. So, she doesn't know what she's talking about.
And then the other part of the plan is she wants to rebuild WAPO, right? I mean, that's the whole point.
WAPA, WAPA is the Water and Power Authority here. Every politician comes in to say, okay, there are the things we have to fix in the U.S. Virgin Islands, because this is, I live in a little place in the U.S. Virgin Islands. You've seen the views. It's really pretty, and we just stay right here. We go into town to buy food, and that's it. We don't leave otherwise. But they have some issues. So all the politicians come and say, we're going to fix the following things. Graft in government. If it wasn't for graft, there would be no government. Number two is WAPA. WAPA is the most expensive utility maybe in the world. And it underpowers and overpowers and breaks down weekly, if not daily. It is a great liability to our equipment. We do everything we can to try to prevent it. And, I have a $200,000 solar array on my roof and batteries just to mitigate the damage of WAPA. So so they say they're going to fix WAPA. But WAPA is a giant hole that people throw money into so that people line their pockets. Second thing, they're going to fix the schools, which are completely dysfunctional on this island. Next thing, they say they're going to fix the hospital, but last time that government money was used to build the hospital, they forgot to put oxygen on the walls. They never opened it. And now they have funds to build another hospital, but everybody is jockeying for position to see how much they can skim, and there is no hospital. And I tried to go to what was called a hospital, and it was essentially a side-by-side trailer. It is, if you're sick here, you're going to die here. So they say they're going to fix that. The next thing they say they're going to fix is the roads, which is like pachinko here, as Rich proved. Now, the roads being like pachinko is a really effective cure for kidney stones. Hit on.
They literally spray paint the potholes so you can see.
Yeah, they do. They rather than fill the potholes here, they spray paint around them so that you can see them. That's very nice. There are some potholes here that you could scuba dive in. So that's what they always promise.
It must be fun driving at night.
I'm the first guy that came to the island. I spent about 5 hours in the first month or so with the governor. Just the two of us, one-on-one, had a lovely chat. He's really articulate, nice guy, but he's like everybody else. He ended up lining his pockets and accomplishing nothing. And he'll leave the office with everything that he promised to fix in worse shape than it was when he came. But he's a really nice guy. If you meet him, you'd love him.
Yeah, he's a multimillionaire now.
Yeah, he's charming.
Yes.
Yeah. So is his ex-wife, and so is his new girlfriend.
I'm sure that's just a coincidence.
It's just a coincidence, sure. Mm-hmm. So that's where we live. I happen to like it here because it is so far away from the U.S. And it is, but yet I can still get mail delivery. So like Amazon delivers. So most everything that we need here, all of our computers, our cameras, and everything is delivered by Amazon, the United States Postal Service, because it's U.S. and that makes life so much easier than it is on any of the other places in the Caribbean. So, and there are actually some really lovely people here, and it's a perfect environment. So one of the things I came to realize is they fixed WAPA, they fixed the roads, if they had a decent hospital, if they had decent schools, if the politicians weren't all line scumbag, then the home, because you've seen pictures of our home here, this home in South Florida would be $25 million, maybe $30 million. Because what we have here is nicer than any home on Palm Island, for example, and they're $40 or $50 million. It's a prettier view, and it's much nicer. But the reason it's affordable, and it's really not affordable, everything's expensive here, but I can have it is because of the fact that everything is such that there's no competition to buy anything here. Oh, we just have an interesting neighbor that just came in. You ever heard of a guy named Deion Sanders?
Yeah, Primetime. Mm-hmm. Coach Prime. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Primetime now lives 4 doors down the street.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I actually like Primetime. I think he's a really interesting character. I thought he was a tremendous athlete, and I thought he is really smart, very, very articulate. He's funny. Am I knowledgeable to know? Am I making a fool of myself and saying that I like the man? Maybe I don't know. It's just what little I've been exposed to him and followed him in sports and listened to him do programs, and now as a coach, I find him entertaining. So I'm a huge fan of him.
That's his point.
I'm a huge fan of him being in the neighborhood. it pleases me no end. And Shredder Sanders is of Cleveland now is the quarterback, and I happen to like his story. Everybody was against him, and so I have been for him, and now he's my neighbor. So
that's
cool.
Interesting.
Happy with that.
You have
like
to remember, Craig, that you do have an advantage, though. Okay, you do have the Malak, who are kind of involved.
Kind of. Kind of. Yeah, it makes living in LA workable too. So, I like it here, and I actually we have many neighbors that I like a lot. Speak of the woman that lives just right down the street that we moved into the neighborhood, and well, she is a Marxist, and so we don't get along politically. I just love her character and intellect, and she has really good heart, does wonderful things for this community. So we like it here. You like it here, don't you?
I like it here. The people are nice.
The people are nice.
And once you figure out how the system works
or doesn't
work,
or
there's
there is
always
no
somebody
system.
in town that knows a guy. I know a guy.
I know a guy. Oh yeah, you just do it by I know a guy. Yep. And I would say that of the you meet 20 people here over the course of a month's time that you're interacting with, and 20 of 20 will be pleasant to be around. They're nice people. So we like it in spite of it.
Even the locals don't like WAPA. They don't like the corruption. It's just made it difficult for everybody.
Yeah. So here's the dumpster saying the Iran government is a cancer that has to be cut out early. A cancer. Can you imagine a man who murdered, I think it was 12 people that day in the opening day of the war, 168 little schoolgirls, and took out the government, including wives and grandchildren. And he has the audacity to say that the Iran government is a cancer that has to be cut out. I mean, it's breathtaking. Even having studied the prophets, it's still breathtaking to witness how vile Satan is when he possesses someone. Now, Donald Trump was vile without Satan possessing him. He's just more vile under these circumstances. But this is the extreme of vile. This is far worse than was Hitler. This is far worse than Stalin or Mao. This is up in the league of Tamerlane. Hideous.
This is the one I wanted to get to. I'll take what are the Koresh for 1,000, Alex?
That Muslim League says the Iran attacks violate religious values. The Quran is a declaration of war on all humankind. Allah says that all Muslims must die killing for him. There is absolutely no relinquishing the jihad in Islam. Islam is based on jihad, and every Muslim knows it. And the Quran is explicit, and the Hadith is even worse. And if you want proof, go read the 5 volumes of absolute proof. Goddamn religion. This is volume 1. There are 5 volumes. They are 825 pages apiece. They are filled with only one thing: citations from the Quran and Hadith. That is all they are. So I cite from the Quran. I have 5 translations of it, including my own. My own makes it 6 translations, and then I reorder the Quran chronologically set in the context of Muhammad's life, using the 4 oldest and most revered Hadith sources, 2 of which are more credible than the Quran because they actually verify the source from which the oral report came, and the Quran doesn't bother to do that, and it's still an oral report from the same people. And in doing so, I prove emphatically, overwhelmingly, undeniably, that Allah is Satan, and that Muhammad was a pedophile, a rapist, a ruthless terrorist, egomaniacal psychopath. and that he was never a prophet, and that Allah was never a god, and that the Quran quite literally is the worst book ever written. Although I guess I got tossed there for a while on YouTube for my Siratan challenge. Imagine that. Allah has at the end of one of his Siratans, and he has two that he does this to. At the end, it's a bunch of just mental masturbation. It's awful what he had to say. He says, he lays out a challenge. He says, if you think this isn't from Allah, then you create the likes of it. But you can't create the likes of it because you're not Allah, and therefore you can't meet the challenge of the Siratan challenge. And so I not only took up the Siratan challenge, I mean, I whooped him bad. Much more interesting rhyme, much better rhythm in the presentation, and much, much funnier. In fact, I even played off all of his lies to have fun with him. So it is pure sarcasm from beginning to end. And YouTube evidently didn't like it because there were dancing skeletons or something. Who knows? But yeah, the Quran is the worst book ever written. And for them to Muslim World League to say that the Iran attacks violate religious values, it certainly ain't Islamic values. Methinks they haven't read the Quran.
Mm-hmm.
Can I remind our audience, Craig, what nation, what country was it that was Prophet of Doom really had the most important, significant impact?
Number one readership per capita of Prophet of Doom.
What was the name of that country?
Before it became a goddamn religion was Iran. Number one.
Iran.
And what's amazing is at the time when I made it available as a audiobook and as a PDF on the internet, and we could track where it was being read. Overwhelmingly, the highest per capita readership and listenership of Prophet of Doom, the forerunner of goddamn religion, was in Iran. And at the time, the U.S. State Department and the CIA fact book said that Iran was about 85 to 90% Shia Muslim. The rest was Sunni Muslim. And 20 years later, Iran's 40% Shia Muslim, about 10% Sunni Muslim, and the rest is atheist, agnostic, socialist, Marxist, anything other than Islam. So there is no other indication there was any other influence in Iran. And I got letter after letter from Iranians thanking me for explaining what was wrong with Islam. So the words wielded wisely, evidence and reason, still the most effective tool.
Yeah, and I will just say, you did catch you got the attention of the Saudis as well. They issued a little something. A
little special gift for me. Yeah, a little special gift for me. I was given for doing the 5,000 radio shows exposing Islam by citing its own verses. The Saudis issued a fatwa against me to kill me. Reward. No one's been able to collect it. So sorry. Malak versus Muslim. Malak are undefeated. If you don't know what a malak is, of course, my co-hosts do, but malak are Yahweh's spiritual messengers. He deploys them. And in the 91st Mizmor, for example, Psalm, Yahweh says there are thousands that surround those who are engaged doing what he wants done. And it makes the person doing what he wants done impervious. That's why I dared them yesterday. Say, okay, you want a piece of me? Come on. But know that it will likely cost your life, and that no one has ever prevailed, and no one ever will prevail until I walk right up to Rahab here, Donald Trump, and say, "This is your big shot, pal. Take me out. See what happens." And the fulfillment of Taruw'ah is him tormenting, slaughtering, butchering my physical body, which I'm going to tell you, a week ago, this Sunday, I would have gladly given up. So I'll give up to have it serve as a sacrifice to fulfill Taruw'ah, and he'll get his satisfaction, and then he gets sent off to Sheol. Well, he gets to pay recompense first. It's interesting that the first recompense for him is that they say that he's such a stinker in the prophets that he actually gets airborne tied up, where his stench blows away from Israel and towards the desert. But they actually talk about him being so smelly that they don't send him directly to Sheol. They have him suspended in the air so that the stench blows away from Israel. But just to show, this is the worst of the worst.
I want to stink up Sheol.
Sorry, Donald, but it's not going to be very nice for you going forward.
Yeah.
But he'll love hell. First thing he's going to try is to get naming rights. And unfortunately, two people beat him to it. The two Shauls, Paul and the king. So he doesn't even get naming rights. That'll be a bummer for him. And
but it could be Shaul by Trump, right? I mean, he can have it later. Shaul by Trump on the button, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't think it's going to work out so well for him. I don't think he's going to like it. So if you repeat a lie often enough, it becomes
religion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
And Islam, Judaism, Christianity, Hinduism, Marxism, or conspiracy. That's the nature of propaganda, is you repeat the lie over and over and over and over again. And just so that people aren't ever focused on exposing your lie, you invent new lies daily to keep them confused. And then you associate your lies with emotional content that children with pretty blue eyes, for example, are standing and preaching before flags, or honoring the troops. Yeah, the emotional attachment. Yep. Every religion starts as a cult. Every religion starts as a conspiracy. They cease being cults and conspiracies when they become popular. And that's the goal of all of them, because they're only controlling and enriching for the ones that rule over them when they are popular. Religion is a very, very effective way of controlling and fleecing people.
Yeah. And might I just remind everybody, rabbis created the Judaism,
they did.
Christianity, and Islam.
Yes, they did. All three. Yeah, the rabbis are responsible for the three religions that are the most damning of Israel. And there is no running from that reality. And it's proven over and over again. And the 5 volumes I've written against Christianity, and the 5 volumes I've written against Islam as goddamn religion.
So we need to stop calling them the Abrahamic religions and start calling them the rabbinic traditions, right?
The rabbinic traditions, yeah. I mean, Abraham wasn't my favorite dude anyway, but nevertheless, his name has been corrupted to create religious myths.
Look at
she
Tulsi.
was once a national security advisor, and she a national intelligence chief, security advisor, whatever they call that job. Now they give the job to Rubio. Rubio is now Secretary of State, and he has her job too. And she says, Erdogan is not our ally. It's time to designate Turkey a state sponsor of terror, remove it from NATO, stop the massacre of the Kurds, stop the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood doesn't care if it's Turkey or Egypt or wherever. And Hamas. And it's true that Turkey is a significant sponsor of Hamas. But none of those things are going to happen. Trump's in love with Erdogan. I mean, theirs is a demonic romance. Yeah. And by the way, when Trump is in love with a man, and he is in love with Erdogan, Trump love. The Trump love means that he hates him less than he hates everybody else.
Right.
Is that there's always a reason. And that reason has obviously nothing to do with the United States, clearly. So What is the reason? What is Erdogan giving Donald Trump, other than stroking his ego, that would cause Donald Trump to view Erdogan as his BFF, brother in Satan, I mean, fellow psychopath?
Lebanon? Lebanon? I mean, that's the only thing.
Turkey doesn't have enough influence in Lebanon, so no, it's not Lebanon. Clearly, Turkey controls Syria now with Jolani, but I don't think Syria is meaning to Donald. He's just infatuated with Jolani. Now, the only thing I can think of is that Trump is really so maniacal that he realizes that the ultimate threat to Israel, besides them, because he doesn't know that Iran's going to march millions of Iranians in there, and so he thinks he's going to wipe out Iran, and they're not going to do that, but the prophets are never wrong. The country that really has Israel's number, and if they were to go to war against Israel, Israel would lose in a kinetic war, is Turkey. And so selling the Turkey the F-35s helps Turkey as well. So he could be so maniacal against Israel that he is embracing Turkey for no other reason than Turkey is the greatest threat to Israel, and has been the greatest threat to Israel for a very long time. And it's a country that says death to Israel routinely, even as head of state.
Yeah.
So that's my thought, is he's that maniacal that he's actually wants a partner in the destruction of Israel. You know, as he said, Israel, in his view, is only exists because of him. Mm-hmm. So when Israel doesn't kowtow to him like they had previously, then Israel will deserve to be destroyed. And now he has the tool to do it. Erdogan and Turkey. I think it is that maniacal.
Because I don't see the grift that. What's he getting from Turkey money wise from the, you know?
Oh, I'm sure there's a money laundering scheme in there someplace, and his family is getting something. And it may be participation in his Bitcoin deal. Who knows what but there, you can be assured there's grift. But I think the big ploy with Erdogan, beyond the fact that Erdogan is a fellow psychopath and egomaniacal, and that Erdogan is really adept at maneuvering Trump, is that he's the hammer. That when Trump says, you only exist because of me, and because you don't kiss my tush anymore, be done with you. And he knows that he can't use the U.S. military to do that, so Turkey is the tool.
By the way, did Tulsi ever read GDR? Do you think so?
I don't know.
I'm surprised she popped her head up out of the sand. I figured she would be keeping her head down and just, you know.
Yeah, you would think so, because anybody that leaves the Trump administration who speaks ill of the Donald is eaten alive. Right. And so you would think that it'd be easier just to go off into the woodwork than to speak against the Donald. The only way that you can speak against the Donald and survive is if you're like Kent and you're a raging anti-Semite to the extent that there's a whole undercurrent out there to lift up the raging anti-Semites.
Can anyone say it's Islam? You know, it's Islam stupid.
It's Islam stupid. Yeah, everything she wants to complain against there, state sponsor of terror, Islam. Remove it from NATO because it's a state sponsor of terror, Islam. Massacre of the Kurds, Islam. Muslim Brotherhood, Islam. Hamas, Islam. So yeah, we would have to say, even the average Joe that's not a former intelligence chief could probably put those clues together: Muslim Brotherhood, Hamas, the massacre of the Kurds, and a state sponsor of terror, and say, I'll take Islam for 1,000, Alex.
Right. Right.
I was just wondering, do you think anyone has ever told the dumpster about the Treaty of Huda'biyah and what a good Muslim really considers signing agreement with a kafir, an infidel is?
It's pretty astonishing that, I wrote about the Treaty of Huda'biyah 25 years ago and did 10,000 radio shows on it. And I've subsequently written the 5 books of goddamn religion that underscore it. And I've did a whole series of programs now. And we even have the audio books now detailing the story of the Huda'biyah. And it is the story of Islam. And the story is affirmed, it can't be denied. It's affirmed in the opening of the 9th surah, the second to last surah of the Quran. And it is so essential to understanding what the Muslims scream worldwide. That riot that was mispresented by the IDF officer. It's Kabar, Kabar, Yahud, 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 Kabar, Kabar. Kabar is the consequence of Huda'biyah. The Muslims didn't like the fact that they were told they couldn't go off and kill a bunch of Muhammad's kin and rape them and plunder them. And they threatened to rebel against Muhammad. And so he gave them an easy prey, which was the last Jewish community in Arabia, Kabar, where early in the morning he did 10-7. He attacked them early in the morning, screaming Allahu Akbar, torturing the men, abducting women and children, raping them, torturing them, selling them as slaves, and committing acts of mass murder. Kabar is the result of Huda'biyah. And then Huda'biyah is sanctioned by Allah in the 9th surah of the Quran. It is the best way to understand Islam. And yet, in the 25 years I have done this, I may have seen and heard 10 people over all of that time speak of it.
Yeah, Khaybar al-Yahud.
Yeah, that's it. That's what they're screaming in Gaza now.
They were screaming at the World Cup.
Yes, yeah, of course. Yes. Yeah, it's genocide against Jews, apartheid against Jews. And yet Jews are the ones that are accused falsely of both. It's a world that's upside down. And of course, it's upside down because we're entering the time of Israel's troubles. It's going to be this way for the next 7 years. Israel has unfortunately been played into doing some very, very dumb things. And there is no solution for this. We'll do one more and we'll call it a day. My friend, hopefully you'll get your program going with my lovely wife on refuting the rabbis. You can play this one too. This is a variation of what we have already heard, but it's so sinister, so vile, so satanic, so demonic. It's a good way for us to end our program.
We attacked very powerfully last night the very dangerous people from Iran. They're sick. There's something wrong with them. We said, go and do your funeral stuff. And instead of that, they start shooting rockets at ships yesterday. And so we hit them very hard last night, very hard. I would say 20-1, 20 times tougher. And I told them every time you hit, we hit. And of course, they're dirty players, so they go after everyone, probably including me. I've been number one on their list for years. And they're a bunch of scum, you want to know the truth. They're scum. And so we don't like them. I don't like them. And they're evil people, and it's the denuclearization of Iran. And we're going to denuke it. We're not going to let them because they're crazy, and they can't have a nuclear weapon. And they go around killing people. They've killed thousands and thousands of our soldiers. They've killed hundreds of thousands of innocent people. They had the roadside bomb, Soleimani. I took care of him first term. And that was a big thing because I think they probably would be a lot stronger had he been around because he was a bad guy, but he was an evil genius, but a bad guy. And he was the father of the roadside bomb. The roadside bomb is a bomb that goes on when you're driving your little vehicle around, and it goes on and you have no legs, no arms, and no face. And they've killed thousands and thousands of people Even the SS Cole was theirs. You remember that disaster. So I don't like them at all. And frankly, I think we waste a lot of time with them. I think we should just do our business. Can you imagine? They start shooting bombs, actually missiles at ships yesterday. Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, a couple of others. And I don't think they know what the hell they're doing, but they're bad people, very bad people. I think they're incompetent, by the way, because if they were competent, they would have made a deal a long time ago. Like, how about 47 years ago?
Wow.
A lot of projection there, huh?
I know words for that.
Did he actually just admit troop losses? Because he thousands and thousands of troops, and we know they're lying about how many U.S. troops have already passed.
I don't know. I know that is worse than I would expect for Satan. I would expect Satan to have better game than that. Evidently, demons, when they look in the mirror, they really can't see their image, because that man has no idea who he is or how evil he is, or how he is the one who violated the agreement and then violated the agreement and violated the agreement and now is pursuing a path that has led to the destruction of the world's economies and destruction of the American military and destruction of the petrodollar and destruction of U.S. alliances throughout the region and destruction of the relationship with NATO and everything. It's just gone poof, destroyed it all. And his solution is, I'm going to call them creeps. And I'm going to say, I hate those people and they're creeps and they're scum. And so we're going to take care of our business, and our business is to bomb them. Mm-hmm. And that's the American flag hanging in the background. So if you're an American, shame on you. Mm-hmm. If you're a MAGA, go to hell. That is the most reprehensible thing I may have ever heard from a politician anywhere in the world. And listen, I know the Islamic regime better than probably anybody in the West, being the foremost expert on the religion that drives it and proving it in the books that I've written on the subject and the programs like this I've done on the religion. And so I have no affinity for an Islamic republic. I don't wish the Persian people bad. I understand that the Persian peoples were victims of Islam. But what has America become? What has Christianity become? What has the Republican Party become? What has the American War Department become? What has the dollar become? All of it. Destroyed. I think that's a good place to end this program. I have nothing else to say. Just repulsed. And that's the man that ultimately gets to take me out 7 years from now. The man in the spirit. Behind the sacrifice of the Adam for all you rabbis out there that are looking for and evangelists that are looking for a red cow. Yeah, you need to understand the meaning of Hebrew words. He's the bloody red man of the earth who is productive as a bull. And that symbolism permeates the entire story of God right from the beginning, opening chapter all the way through. And it all comes to a conclusion at the end. It's he and me. You know, it's just like Elia long ago. The political leadership and the religious leadership of Israel, we're going to have a rendezvous. Well, we are too. It'll be fulfilled on Taruw'ah. And you will see the consequence as a result. I get the best of all worlds. I get to purge the final remnant and do something very good for God's people while getting rid of this body and being forever enveloped in light and energy. So it's a huge win for me, and I get to be the one who takes down Rahab.
I think that needs to be emphasized.
That's it for him.
That needs to be emphasized, Craig Yada, that it will produce the fruition of the, reconciliation with Dowd.
Yeah, it's the end of religion. It is Taruw'ah in 2033. Yeah. And the issues around that sacrifice that I will make in the final gleaning of God's people, that the world is forever transformed. All religious and political people are eradicated. They're all gone. All traces of religion and politics and conspiracy and anti-Semitism, all purged from the earth. The earth is then restored to the conditions of the Garden of Eden. And it is 10 days prior to the return of the actual Messiah and chosen one, the King of Israel, Dowd. And he is returning with Yahweh.
He's returning with Yahweh.
And it's the great homecoming on Yom Kippur, October 2nd, 2033. I'll be there. I would encourage you to be there. You guys obviously will be there.
With the Alma, and then 5 days thereafter?
We enter Eden.
Sukkot?
Actually, we escort the mortal remnant that we salvage out of all of this, of Yisrael, into Eden.
And you get to see your kids.
Yes.
And hand them over to Dowd.
All of them. And hand them over to Dowd. Yes, the covenant family. Here you go, King. They're yours. Got your back. But they're yours. Yep, it's going to be an amazing situation, and without the likes of this scum. The scum who calls others scum is the scum of scum. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Rich. Appreciate you participating in the vlog on the vlog. We'll see if Leah can get a new intro to us. She says the original one, which I thought was really good, she's thrown that away. She did another one I thought was great. She tossed that one away, and she's working on a third now, or maybe a fourth for all I know. So we'll see if we get a new intro. If not, we'll continue to work the Wookiee, who has been a dog on duty right here. This is the Wook working it hard right here. All right, everyone. Yep, there he is. There's the Wookiee. So I wish you the best. Good day.
Hey there, thanks for tuning in. That was Fetch. Gotta run now. Catch y'all on our next podcast.